Hey guys, what's going on? Jason here again. I'm going to be doing another video on my director's retrospective, and this is going to be on David Cronenberg, called Why David Cronenberg is So Awesome. And I've done a few of these in the past on my channel, and I've got a lot more planned. It just takes me a while to prepare. Going back and watching all the films and finding a lot of these films is the hardest part for me, because a lot of this stuff's out of print, or it was never released here in the United States anyway. And all these out of print DVDs are ungodly expensive these days, so bear with me. But I will have more of these up on my channel in the future. But yeah, like I said, this is David Cronenberg, and he is one of my favorite directors. And the thing about David Cronenberg is he's been one of my favorite directors, like, basically since I was watching movies. But for different reasons now, because when I was a kid, I really enjoyed watching his films and all the visuals and, all the gore and stuff like that in his films. But now when I watch the films, I get more out of it. I can, as I've grown as a fan of film, I've been able to respect his films more in different ways, and see the deeper meanings of his films. But yeah, one of my favorite directors, just a master of visuals, and really great with lighting and cinematography and everything. Just a great director all around. And yeah, I want to start off with a quote of his here that kind of embodies his horror genre, his work in the horror genre. Since I see technology as being an extension of the human body, it is inevitable that it should come home to roost. So, a lot of you guys know David Cronenberg as being the father of the body horror subgenre of horror, and that's where he takes the human body and morphs it in different ways to symbolize different things. And you see that in numerous of his films, not only in the horror genre, but in other genres as well. And that's another thing about David Cronenberg's films. They, at least in my opinion, they tend to span different genres. Because, most of his films you can kind of call drama, horror, sci-fi, and even comedy in some cases. You can't really just put it into a cookie cutter, genre. So I think that's another cool aspect of his films. And if you're not familiar with David Cronenberg, I definitely recommend you check him out. But I'm going to go ahead and go over a few of his films here. And I think he had a few projects, like television projects and stuff in Canada before this one. But this is the first film, the feature that I'm familiar with of his, and this is, of course, Shivers. This is also known as They Come From Within. Came out in 1975, and yeah, he got into a lot of trouble for making this movie, because this was actually financed by the I guess the Film Commission in Canada. They put up some money for this film, and there was a big dispute over. One of the film critics gave it a bad review and said, this is what your tax dollars are being spent on, and kind of gave him a bad name in film for a little while. But this is a good film in my opinion. It's definitely a precursor to a lot of his stuff that comes in the future. It's still it's a good film, but it's not a great film. It's you could tell it was a learning experience for him. But I do really enjoy this film a lot. It's very similar to film like Night of the Creeps, or a more recent film called Slither, the James Gunn film. But yeah, decent film. I'd recommend checking that one out. This is kind of a hard DVD to find. This is a Region 2. If you can find it, I'd definitely say pick it up, because I don't know, with the way they're releasing DVDs and Blu-rays lately, it may not be coming out for quite a little while. And let's see. he had a film come out called Fast Company, which I have not seen. I do need to check that one out. But then he had a film come out called Rabid, and this is also known as Rage. This came out in 1977, and this stars Marilyn Chambers. And this is one of the first films I saw of his, and I really enjoy this a lot. This is it's kind of an infection film. You know, back before infection films were really popular like they are these days, a zombie infection film. And, you know, really cool concepts in there. He's really starting to develop his body horror, you know, his imagery in this film. Lots of cool gore in here. It's a great film all around. I'd recommend checking this one out if you haven't seen it. And I have to kind of go through these kind of quickly. It's going to be a long video. And then I have The Brood. And this is probably where he gained a lot of popularity, is with this film. With the ending of this film in particular is what everybody remembers. And definitely watch the film all the way through and watch the ending. It may not be as shocking to you now, you know, especially a lot of you guys that have seen a lot of horror stuff these days. You're not going to be shocked by it like people were in 1979. But yeah, cool film, fun watch. I enjoy this one a lot. I know it's kind of slow, slow build, but you know, a lot of his films are like that, and that's the drama aspect. Yeah, check this one out. And let's see, The Brood, and then here comes Scanners in 1981. This is another one of the first films of his that I saw, and still one of my favorites to this day. And this is just about people that have the ability to scan, is what they call it in the film, but telepathically they can make you do things with their mind, and you know, basically control things with their mind. And great gore in this one. I definitely recommend checking this one out. And yeah, you know, the acting's a little off on it, but you know, what can you do? And here comes probably his biggest film to date, and his best film to date, Videodrome. And I could probably talk for like an hour on this film. I've seen this film numerous times, and I still need to watch it more times to really totally understand everything in this film. But stars James Woods, and James Woods is awesome as always. And he's discovered this like a pirate TV station called Videodrome, sending a signal, and Videodrome basically makes people go crazy. And without getting into more than that, James Woods' character essentially goes crazy. And you know, the Videodrome. If you haven't seen this, you really need to check this one out. For all you younger folks that may not have heard of this, definitely check out Videodrome. And this is the Blu-ray. It looks really good on Blu-ray. This is The Fly, and this is probably the first film of his that I saw. This used to come on TV a lot when I was a kid, and this came out in 1986, and stars Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, and this is another really good one. Probably a bigger budget than a lot of his stuff before this, and it's a really solid flick all around. Jeff Goldblum does a great job. He has his teleportation device that he's created, and he eventually tries it out himself, and there's a fly in there, and his DNA gets spliced with the DNA of a housefly. So over time, he eventually turns into a giant fly, human fly. So cool flick. Very Cronenberg-esque, you know. This is at the height of his body horror. And I actually left one out in 1983. He had The Dead Zone, and that's based on a Stephen King book. And actually, I reviewed that over on the House of Horror channel. And I remember watching that one when I was younger and not really liking it all that much, but when I watched it again recently, I really had a lot more respect for it, and I definitely need to pick that one up. I don't own that one. I need to pick that up. Stars Christopher Walken, and just a really great film all around. They eventually made a television series out of it on the USA Network. And here comes my favorite film of his in 1988 called Dead Ringers, and stars oh gosh, can't think of his name right off. I have to look on here. Jeremy Irons is his name. He actually has dual roles as twins, as Beverly and Elliot. They're twin gynecologists, and this film is really moving in my opinion. And this is one of his that's not really a horror film. It has some horror elements in it, but this film is really touching to me. The relationship between the two twins, and you really don't ever hear anybody talk about this one, but it's one of my favorites. That's probably just because I'm crazy, and I like weird stuff, but really solid flick. Great acting. Jeremy Irons does an awesome job. Probably Jeremy Irons' best film, in my opinion. But check this one out. I know a lot of you guys probably have not seen this one, but I would recommend it. And let's see, in 1991 he did Naked Lunch, and I don't own that one yet either, but that's based on a book by oh god, I can't think of his name right now, but that is a whack movie, man. That movie is whacked out. Watch that movie. Make sure you're sober when you watch that movie, because it's gonna take a lot to wrap your brain around it. But I just got the book the other day on Kindle, and I need to check it out. I haven't started reading it yet, but oh shit, I can't think of the author's name of that book. But check that movie out and let me know what you think, because it's out there, man, and it's very typical of a Cronenberg movie. It's got a lot of really cool special effects in there, lots of cool body horror images, and just a really wild movie all around. I need to check that one out again. I need to pick it up. And then in 1996 he had a film called Crash, and that's another really odd film. That's where it's about, I know it stars James Spader, but it's about people that have been in auto accidents, and they actually get aroused by auto accidents, and it's kind of an odd premise, and it's really going to be even harder to describe the movie, but I would recommend you check that one out. That's probably one of his more harder to watch films, in my opinion. It's not a bad film at all. It's just kind of the subject matter is kind of hard for me to watch, but a lot of really awkward scenes in the movie as well, but really well done, shot really well. And let's see, in 1999 he had a film called Existence. It stars Jude Law, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Willem Dafoe. Another really cool watch that you don't really hear a lot of people talk about these days. It was kind of in a time period where it seems like it was kind of forgotten, but I would recommend it. This is about a video game, a virtual reality video game, and it really kind of applies even these days, because that was kind of in the early days of virtual reality gaming, and that's what he was going for. Is you really can't ever tell what's real and what's the video game, and I think that's really what he was going for in that film. And let's see, he had a couple of short films that are actually on the Videodrome Blu-ray called Camera, and that was a really solid short film. And then in 2002, he had a film called Spider, and that's about a man who's recently released from a mental institution, and you basically follow his life as he tries to get back on his feet. And that's a really good film too. Now that is pretty much a solid drama. Really no horror elements in that film at all, and it's been a little while since I've seen it, so I'm not gonna give too big of a description on it. But it's really well shot as well, and great cinematography in that one, and great acting. And see, this is where David Cronenberg really didn't do any more horror films, and I don't know if he just lost interest or just trying to go a different direction. But he did a couple of drama films, crime drama films. In 2005, he had A History of Violence, and this is when he started using Viggo Mortensen. I think he used Viggo Mortensen in this film and in his next film called Eastern Promises in 2007. And I believe Viggo Mortensen's in some of his new projects as well. But Viggo Mortensen's a really awesome actor. And this film is really cool. I'm a huge crime drama fan as well as horror fan and everything else too. So if you haven't checked this out, give it a watch. If you're a fan at all of crime dramas, you would love it. And no horror elements in this at all, but great film. And you know, I don't know why he's decided to get away from horror, but I don't really mind. A lot of people tend to bitch about that, but you know, as long as the guy's working, I'm cool with it. And he's making films that I enjoy. I mean, he's not making romantic comedies or anything. He's making decent films. And, you know, one of the better crime dramas I've seen in recent years. But this film, really cool film about a guy who goes in the witness protection program to get away from the mafia, and he's eventually found by his brother, and they kind of have a little battle. And the next film is Eastern Promises. Came out 2007, and I do own this, but I didn't feel like looking for the DVD. But it is out on Blu-ray, and I need to pick that one up on Blu-ray as well. But that's a cool film. It's about a Russian mafia. That's another crime drama film. And check that one out. That's another really, really awesome film. Stars Viggo Mortensen again, and in the main role. That's a really cool film. I'd recommend everybody checking that one out. Again, if you're a fan of crime dramas, check that one out. And then due out this year is a film called A Dangerous Method. That's in post-production, and I'm not familiar with that. I know it's not horror, but probably another crime drama-esque film. So definitely look forward to that. And he's got another project he's working on. It's in pre-production called Cosmopolis, and I think that's the one starring the dude from Twilight. What's his name? I can't think of his name right off, but the main guy from Twilight, I think, is in that one. And you know, whatever. It's David Cronenberg. I'll give it a watch. I remember reading the plot synopsis a while back, and it sounds fairly interesting. So I'll check it out. I'll be the first in line to buy a ticket, Mr. Cronenberg. So as long as you continue to make films, I'll be there to watch them for sure. So thank you for all the great films, and thanks for watching, everybody. Take it easy. Peace.